This is TWiT.
Zac is like a real sleuth when it comes to this stuff. He saw on eBay somebody was selling a Surface Duo that didn't look exactly familiar. And so he tracked it down, and I'm going to let him tell you what he found because it's kind of weird and crazy.
So, yeah, I found on eBay. Unfortunately, I didn't buy it. You know, not that I would. It's stolen goods, Microsoft. If you're listening, I would never have bought this.
Never.
On eBay, I came across a weird-looking Surface Duo 2, and the title of the sort of listing was Surface Duo 2 Dev Unit, and I wasn't too sure what this was, so I asked around. By the time I was able to get a sort of concrete answer as to what this was, the listing had sort of been deleted. I think it was sold to whoever bought it. But yeah, so I had heard that this device was codenamed Chronos and was supposed to ship later this year as a lower cost version of the Surface Duo 2. But it was cancelled late last year. So this thing hasn't been planned for a long time at this point. But it got to a point where it existed and I guess was in self-hosters' hands or testing internally until they decided to cancel it. And it was supposed to be essentially a mid-range Surface Duo 2. It had a plastic exterior compared to the sort of glass exterior that the Surface Duo 2 has. It had one less camera on the back. It had a sort of upper mid-tier Snapdragon 7 series chip, I believe. And instead of it didn't have a glance bar, so the displays on the inside were flat rather than curved down the middle. And it was essentially, you know, everything that they could pare back, they did to sort of hit a lower price bracket. Now, I unfortunately don't know what that price bracket was going to be. You know, a guess could be maybe $800, maybe sub $1,000, I assume is what they were trying to go for. Because if you consider the price of the Duo 2, that was $1,500 at launch. I think it was very expensive. And that was, I think, its number one criticism, right? The Duo is just too expensive. So I guess they thought, hey, why not try and make a cheaper version? And that's what this device was going to be. Unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, it has been cancelled and they're not going to ship it. The reason I was told it was cancelled is because they decided to just go all in on the Duo 3 flagship, which, as far as I'm aware, is not coming until the end of next year. So we're sort of going Duo-less for a year, unfortunately. But hopefully by the end of next year, they will have a product that is better than what we have currently. Who knows what they're going to do with the Duo 3. But yeah, this Chronos thing is not happening as far as I'm aware.
Okay. I think you know, I wanted to love the Surface Duo.
I did
really
too.
did. Yeah.
We all did.
I know. When I got the first unit, I got one of the first test units. Like I think 100 people got them. And I put it in my hand and I'm like, this is amazing. And then I tried to use it and I was like, and it's totally unusable. Like you cannot use this. Like it's horrible. The original one, software experience was terrible. There were lags. There were all kinds of problems. Camera was awful, right? Version 2, I also finally did get a review unit of that. And I tried it a couple times and I just gave up because I'm like, I don't think they fixed anything. I know you like it, Zac, but that's why we want to make fun of you. Like, why do you like this?
Well, because it's good. I promise. I'm not lying. It is good now. Yes, this one did launch in a little bit of a buggy state as well. But today, I can't fault it. It works as it's supposed to work at this point.
So, Zac, when you say good, right?
Right. Is it? I know exactly where you're going with this. Yeah.
Have you ever used a Galaxy Z Fold 3? Because
I used the Galaxy Z Fold 1, so I was there at the launch.
Yeah, and because obviously Microsoft has had a lot of partnerships with Samsung. They've had a lot of integrations with Windows and such from Galaxy phones that even the Duo didn't get first, right? Foldable beats dual screen, in my opinion, and I feel like for a Microsoft fan, the Z Fold 3 is the better option than a Duo 2. And I've also still just kind of had general problems with the Duo 2, like touchscreen issues. The camera really needs work, especially in low light. It's way better than Duo 1. I'll give it that because Duo 1 didn't have a rear camera, right? But I feel like the Z Fold 3. So to me, foldables is where it's at rather than dual screen, and a mid-range Duo to me doesn't really makes sense because I feel like the product's not there yet. Like going all in on Duo 3 makes a lot more sense to me because they need this thing to mature before they explore other tiers.
I fully agree, and I think Microsoft sort of thought that as well. That the product line at the time when they were developing Chronos just wasn't where it needed to be. And I'm not saying it's there now, but from now until the end of next year, there's a lot more time for them to improve the software and indeed put together some hardware that is above and beyond what they've done here. Even regarding the dual screen versus foldable screen debate, it comes down to preference, right? Technologically, I think a single screen foldable is better. But it comes down to the experience of the dual screen. Like on the Duo, so with the Galaxy Fold 1, which is the last of the Galaxy Fold I really used, I never multitasked on it. I just never did. I had that big, whatever it is, 7.6 inch screen, and I just never would you see me running two apps side by side on that device. And I think that's because Samsung just did a poor job at implementing multitasking on top of Android for the Galaxy Fold. It's a very manual process. You have to swipe out the side drawer, then you have to drag an app to the one side you want to sort of open it on, and it's a process. On the Duo, it's automatic. You tap an app on one screen and you tap an app on the other screen, and they're just running side by side. It's not something you have to think about. If you're in one app and you tap on a link, it will just open on the other screen. The Galaxy Fold never does stuff like that. And I think that's
they did nail that.
Yeah, they did. They made the multitasking seamless. Like, you don't think about the fact that you're multitasking on the Duo, but you're doing it all the time. And on the Galaxy Fold, that just wasn't the case. Now, do you value multitasking on your phone? That's the question you need to ask for whether or not this device makes sense.
Right.
And
How many
for a lot of people, it
articles
doesn't.
have you written on there? Have you done those sorts of? Have you done any work on that device, or is it?
I have written
mostly for fun?
Not long articles, but I've certainly given it a go. I wouldn't prefer to write articles on this, but you can do it if you really wanted to. I didn't use the laptop mode, if that's what you're asking. The compose mode on this thing isn't great, and I'll be totally honest with that. But being able to sort of span one app across both screens and type with two screens is actually really nice. And
with a
because
big
of the
hinge
screens
in
are
the
slightly
middle.
wider. Yeah,
But the hinge makes you more
some apps-
creative. Don't you remember the?
Oh, I remember.
That's what Panos said. It's scientifically proven.
It actually adds creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes,
see, the thing about
here's the thing
spanning
with that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Rich.
sir. All right. But the thing about spanning two different screens is that with certain apps, it doesn't work. Whereas with a larger full screen, like if I'm reading, I mean, they have a good Kindle app, but say if I'm reading comic books on it or something, there's just a split in the middle of the page. Or if you're watching a movie on Netflix or something, it's just a split. And if you're really looking for that multitasking experience, it can do it. But I'm not sure how popular of a use case that is compared to other things or the compromises that you make.
Well, in that case, what you do is you just fold one of the screens round, and it's just a normal phone at that point,
And
right?
then you
The
have a small
spanning
screen.
capabilities. Well, it's still, but it's not a tiny screen. I haven't complained about this screen ever. It's perfectly sized. What I will say is, the spanning capability, I think Microsoft advertised it wrong. It's a bonus. It's not a core part of the experience because most apps don't support it. You're totally right about that. Some apps will accidentally support it sometimes, and obviously most of Microsoft's apps support it, but a lot of apps just don't. And in that case, you just wouldn't span them. You'd just use it on one screen, or you'd be using two apps side by side, or you'd fold one of the screens around and use it as a single screen phone. And I totally get the criticism of, but I bought a phone with 8 inches of total screen real estate. I want to use all of it at once. And in that case, this device isn't going to be for you. It's for people who sort of prefer running two apps side by side, or if they're not using a single screen phone, because that's what being able to fold all the way around does for you. And then in the rare circumstance where it works, being able to span an app gives you that both screens using in one app, and it looks great and it feels great. But it's for the most part not a phone where you would be spanning those two apps across both screens, because you just wouldn't want to do that. I know some people say that they watch videos across both screens. I think they're insane. I've never done that.
The thing that surprises me the most about the Duo is that Microsoft is still backing it and still investing in it.
Yeah, I think Microsoft wants to have a successful phone business, and they're doing it right now with the Duo 2. Who's to say that they won't expand in the future to other form factors running Android that also fit in your pocket? I'm, of course, hinting at maybe a single-screen phone or a Galaxy Fold-type device. I would not be surprised if they have prototypes, things like that internally. I think Microsoft genuinely wants to have a successful, I don't know how successful, or have a phone business of some kind, because they're all in on Android, right? You know, their recent reorg, they created a new Microsoft Android sort of group internally, which houses the Duo OS, it houses SwiftKey, Microsoft Launcher, all of their Android app efforts sort of under one organization. And I think what they want is to do what they did with Windows and Surface, but with Android. They want to just have an Android device that showcases the best of all of their software on an open platform, which is Android. And how better else to do that than with phones? Because that's what Android is good at.
Partner with Samsung.
Yeah.
Samsung won't set the launcher as default and have Edge as the default browser. Right? That's the key thing there. I know that there are partnerships with Samsung, and you have OneDrive doing backups for, I think, Samsung Photos and stuff. And there are some pre-installed apps from Microsoft. And obviously the integration with PhoneLink, but you don't get that Microsoft Launcher default sort of experience. You don't get Edge as default and all of that stuff, which I think is what Microsoft really wants at the forefront of a device. And Samsung will I don't think, ever let Microsoft do that.
Yeah.